first question. You ready?
Here it comes. First question. All right, here it is.
It's a softball one. It's a softball one. All right.
Let's. Hey, man, I'm not holding back nothing in this interview, so I don't care who said, who know it, whatever. So
All right, man. Let's see. First question is, what was it that got you into comedy? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or did it kind of just find you?
um, it's kind of weird how I got into comedy because of the simple fact that um I was playing football. So my whole dream was as growing up as a kid was to play NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to high school, played high school ball. I was in the process of going to college to play college ball. And then I was just trying to work my way up, and then I had started playing semi-pro football. So it's like amateur football, but it's like you still play. You practice Tuesday and Thursday nights, and you play on Saturday nights, and you travel to different cities to go play different teams in your league. So this it's people always think it's like it's a bunch of old washed up players, but it's not. It's like they had college players, and ex NFL players, and arena players. So it's still people that got experience in playing football. So they always think of semi pro as like they outdated players or things like that, but it was never like that. So my whole thing when I got injured in 2004. I had two linemen fell on my leg and dislocated my knee. So I had my ACL, PCL, and MCL was all torn. So I had to take a couple. Well, I had to take like maybe 3 or 4 years to rehab before I can come back. Because I asked the doctor, could I come back from it? And he said normally football players don't come back from this type of injury. So I was like, okay, let me just keep rehabbing, see what I can do, see what I can do to get back into the game and everything like that. So in that process, I said, well, I need something else to do. And then my buddies and them will always tell me, why don't you go do stand up? Yo, you funny, blah, blah, blah. And at first I was like, y'all trying to set me up to fail because I ain't trying to get up on stage, tell no jokes, nobody laugh. That was my whole thing in a nutshell. So I think I had met up with somebody. This was back in the MySpace days. If you remember MySpace, that was like back in the days before Facebook took over. So I had met somebody off of there that was a manager of another comedian, had introduced me to some local comedians here in Baltimore that I started working with them like doing shows. So the whole thing about it was they call it paying dues. So we had to sell 10 tickets at $10 a piece to get 5 minutes of stage time. So that's how you got your stage time for their show.
Wow.
So and then whatever and then let me show you how how shitty it was. Like each additional ticket after the 10 tickets you sold, we got $3 for every ticket we sold additional. Yeah, I laughed too. Yeah. After I look back at it now, yeah.
Damn.
But but I'm saying other comedians was telling me that's how they was paying dues. So like in order for you to get your stage time, they was like only use it for your stage time. Don't worry about the money because the money and stuff will come later. Okay, I understood that. I like all right. So that's how I got started. So I continue with it, and then maybe around like 2009, I started playing again. So I started playing football one more time. So I was playing with two different teams. And mind you, I was playing football all year round, fall and spring. So I finished with one team and I go to the next team, come back again to the next team for the fall, then go back to this. I was back and forth. And then after 2009, we had won the championship and I had officially retired from that team. So I was done with that. Then I finished with my other team in 2012. So I was completely done. So after that, it was just like, I said, well, maybe I should get comedy a you know, full time thing. Let me get into it and see what I can do with it. Because once you get on stage and get a little bit comfortable, it makes it kind of easier. And when you get people to laugh at you, it's a little bit more easier. But I had my days. I've had my days. So trust me. So I mean, I worked at it and worked at it, and then I think my big break came when I was on. I entered The View on ABC had a comedy competition. So I entered it, and at that time I was about to quit comedy, man. I was so done with it because of the politics and everything, and I was just then a comedian here from my area where I live at hit me up and said, "Well, I think you would have a chance to win this competition if you enter." And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to enter nothing, man. I'm just tired of it, man." It's like so I took her advice, entered the contest, So it was like 200 applicants that entered the contest. So I think one day I was at work and my girlfriend said ABC had called. So I was like, what you mean they called? She said they called looking for you. So I'm thinking like, okay. So I said, well, if they call back, just give them my work number and they call me at work. And they called me at work and told me that my tape had made it to the top 10. So my ticket made, and now mind you, 200 people. So my tape that I entered made it to the top 10. So he said, all right. So he says, one more process we gotta do. We gotta break down the five comedians after this. I think after that day, so they had to break it down to five comedians, and they said they'll let me know if I made it. So maybe like 2 days had passed. They called me back like that Wednesday and said, well, guess what? You coming to New York to perform on The View for our competition. So you getting that Wednesday slot. So I had to go to New York. It was live TV. My first live TV, big TV appearance, all these lights, cameras, everything. And I was just nervous. I like, dude, I'm like about to go live in front of like everybody in the world. And so when I went to I did my performance. I did good and everything because what we did a we had to do a little practice run in front of the staff, on before we went on like the live television. So I did it, and like a couple of staff members was coming up to me and was like, "Hey, dude, I done seen the first two. I think by far you probably gonna win it if you was gonna." I'm like, "Oh, so thank you." I was like, because my whole point was to go in there and do good. So I think we did the last. So Friday I had to wait, and then they called me. He said, "Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news." I said, "Okay, what's the good news?" He said, "Well, no." He said, "What's the bad news?" He said, "Well, you didn't make it to number two." So I was like, "What? I didn't make it to number two?" He said, "Yeah." So what's the good news? He said, "You won the champ. He said you won the competition." I like, "What?" Dude, I said, "I won." And they was like, "Yeah." They was like, I won. I beat all the other comedians that was on the show. I won the competition." And it was like, oh, I'm like, I got like Whoopi Goldberg and them like with my judges, and it was just like, I mean, oh my god, I was shocked, like, dude, I was like, y'all actually won,
And this
and I
is
could,
coming on the cusp of you kind of wanting to quit comedy, right? That you
yeah,
was winning this competition.
I wanted to quit, so I wanted to quit, and then, like I said, she talked me into entering the contest because she thought I had a good chance of winning. So I was like, at that time, my confidence was down because I was like, man, I don't want to enter this crap, man. I don't know if I'm gonna win anyway. And so, like I said, I enter it with the whole thing of competing and doing what I need to do. And they told me that Friday I had won, and I was just so shocked. Like, dude, are you serious? And I broke down crying because it's like once you work so hard for so much for like at that time I was working. I started comedy in 2007. So after you've been doing it for so long and putting in your work, and then you get that one time recognition thing, and it was like I won. Like I really won. And it was crazy. So I had to go back there Monday. So they brought me back Monday to announce me as the winner on TV that following week. So that's when they announced me as the winner. I mean, it's all on YouTube. Still got my clips and all that. I'm gonna keep them clips for a long time. So
Oh, I said, Matt, how do you feel your life kind of changed after winning that, or did it change at all?
oh, it did. It's like I started getting like a little bit more work, little from that credit at the time, and then like that same year, I had found out Whoopi Goldberg was gonna be at one of the venues here in Baltimore. So I emailed the producer of the show because I knew he still, he knows us. I said, I didn't know her personally, and I didn't have her email, so I emailed him and said, hey, do you think you can talk to? We'll send this email to Whoopi and ask her if it's possible if I can open up for her when she come to Baltimore. So waited like maybe what, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden the manager calls me. So he said, what do you want to gain out this whole experience? I said, I just want the credit, man, because at that time, when we talking about opening up for Whoopi Goldberg, one of the top like comedians. She's still a comedian, regardless of what they. I mean, she's an actor too, an actress too. But it was like I get to open up for Whoopi Goldberg, dude. And I was like, and then he was just like, he said, well, let me see what I can work out. So we worked. They called me like maybe 2 weeks before the show, maybe 3 weeks before the show. He said, all right. He said, guess what? He said, I got you on the show. Whoopi has volunteered. I'm gonna throw it out there. Whoopi giving me $500 to do 10 minutes. So I was like, okay. I'm not gonna say no. I don't want to do it for that. No, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it for $500 for 10 minutes. And it was just a blast off from that. And it was like, phew. And it was like, I mean, I have never. It was like 2,200 people in that audience, man. I've never done a big crowd like that before, ever.
So what was
Ever.
your nerves like before going up on stage in front of 2,200 people?
Man, let me tell you, I was so like when I got there early, they let me walk out on the stage. So I'm looking at all these empty seats, and I'm like, yo, there's gonna be people in these seats when we come back out here for real, for real. So I'm sitting in the green room like behind me. They got a green room just like that behind me, right? So I'm sitting in the green room, nervous. My girlfriend with me at the time, and I'm just like, she said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm nervous, man. I said, there's gonna be a lot of people out there. And like she said, well, there's a reason she got confidence in you for to let you do it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I just want to make it work. I'm like, I mean, I still had to do it. I can't turn around and say, yo, I'm done. I'm going home. I can't do it. So I'm walking out there. They introduced me. I walked out there. I just looked at all these people like, holy shit. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm looking like, I was like, oh my God. I said, you know what? I'm out here already. Ain't nothing I can do. But the funny thing about it is like, cause in the comedy game, whoever's the headline, you have to ask them what are their rules far as can I say bad words? Can I not say bad words? How much time you want me to do? So you have to get the permission of the headliner. So I asked, before I went on stage, I said, can we use bad words? She said, what the hell you think I'm gonna do? And I was like, oh, okay, well, that gives me the clearance. There it is, right there. So
Green light.
that gave me the green light. I mean, I didn't use anything like harsh or anything. I didn't use, none of the craziest stuff you ever heard before. So, but I've said some words, but I mean, when she said it, I was like, there it is. I ain't got no more to. Okay, cool.
I
So,
hear I hear often comedians say that it's harder to perform clean comedy than it is to maybe you swear stuff. Do you agree with that or not so much?
I mean, if you're not used to doing it, I mean, you can do it, but it's like you had to cut out some of the stuff you normally would say with your material. But it's sometimes like I got nervous doing a church crowd because I was nervous. I was gonna say something bad that I wasn't supposed to say. So and it messed me up because like I was so much worried about that my set didn't go the way as I planned. I didn't cuss anything, but I just didn't feel it. The people didn't feel it, and it was just like just. And I stopped doing like the gospel shows, and I can do clean shows now because I learned a lot about it, and I had some other the veteran comedians that I work with was telling me what to do and everything. So like I think I can do a clean thing now, a clean routine now. So I've done it a couple of times now, but it was just that church venue just like it did something to me like these are all Jesus kids and like this is I can't talk about some of the stuff I want to talk about, but
100%. Now,
so
when
I
you
mean,
first got into comedy, was your family and friends were they supportive I mean, I know your friends seem to be because they already saw the comedy in you, but was your family supportive of the move as well, or what?
um, well, at that time when I first started doing comedy, when I started doing it in 2007, at that time my mom had passed in 2004, so that was kind of one of the things that helped me escape from missing her a little bit. So it was like when I got into comedy, that was just like I kept like thinking like, damn, I wish she was here. I wish she was here to see it, and things like that. But that was one of the things that helped me get away from, feeling bad and because she not there. I mean, I still feel bad about it today that she not here to see anything. But it's like then it was a whole bunch like my father had got sick, and then it was like a whole bunch of stuff that happened, and Like that's when I got my knee injury the same year, 2004, and my mother died the same year. And it was like everything was taken away from me. Like I couldn't really do anything. You talking about stuck in a room for like an hour, can't do nothing but go back and forth to the bathroom, can't go downstairs, can't go outside because you got this cast on knee been operated on, and you can't go nowhere. And it the family supported me like a little bit later. Like when I started doing more shows, I think I've had more support from people I don't know than much of my family. They come to the shows, but not as much. But um, yeah, I can say that. I mean, I'm not saying to hurt their feelings or nothing, but it's the truth. I mean, they do come to some of the shows, but I get more support from people that I don't know, or people like when I perform at comedy clubs. I pick up more I pick up more followers on my social media when I'm performing like at the comedy clubs and stuff. So then they always wonder when you coming back to town or whatever. So it's like I was building a reputation like that because they knew how funny I was, and it's just trying to maintain that type of thing. My family always come out and support me and everything. It's just I'm just trying to build the people that don't know about me. So I figure once they know about me, then then they'll want to come out more and support me more.
Now this might
So
be kind of a good segue too, because I noticed on your Facebook page at the top you have the quote that says "Laughter helps."
yeah.
What is it about laughter, comedy in particular? Do you find it to be so healing for people?
The one thing I've noticed since I've been doing comedy, man, it's like a lot of people come to the comedy clubs to escape their problems. I mean, they come, they could be going through a divorce, a breakup. They could be going through a lot of stuff. So it gives them an opportunity to come and laugh. Not necessarily it's going to take their pain away because they still got to go home and deal with the issue again, whatever it is. But at least this helped them escape, from whatever problems they had. And I came up with that slogan, and I've been using it for a couple of years. I'm even gonna have some T-shirts coming out with it. So it's like it's just it helps. I mean, it helps you feel better about yourself a little bit. Like I mean, not feel better about yourself, but it makes you feel good for that time being. And like especially if you do a real good job and people laughing and everything, and it's like it just takes them away to it gives them an opportunity to breathe. Let's just say like that. It gives them an opportunity to breathe. Like take that deep breath and blow it out. And then they think about, and it probably helps them deal with their problems a little bit better if you think about it. And they're like, okay, I got a clear head, I done laugh. So let me see my boyfriend cheat. Let me put him out now. So that's what they gonna do. They got a clear, sense now. So they done laugh, got it out, and that's what it is. So, but I live and die by that slogan. The laughter helps because everything in the world is just crazy. That's why we talk about it. The crazy people just doing the crazy stuff. So
At what point was at what point do you feel as though you arrived as a comedian, or you felt comfortable calling yourself a comedian? Was it after The View? After you won the competition with The View? Was it before that? Was it after that? At what point was you comfortable calling yourself a comedian?
probably, I think after that opportunity, I was on The View. I think it was when I said, I'm back. I never left, but at that point, before The View, I had some doubts and everything else. But then when I won that, it kind of helped my confidence a little bit. Like, well, if I can go in there and do that, then what can I do in the comedy clubs and on shows and working with other people too? So it was like, only time will tell. So then when I got more opportunities to working with some of the big names, it was like they thought I was funny and they started using me more. And I was like, okay, I'm getting better at this. Cause that's why I say it's a learning process if you think about it too. Cause like everybody not gonna be funny every night. It's not. And like sometimes I tell some of the young comics here, I like a lot of them tend to be like just because you're funny in front of your family and friends, you still got to go deal with people that never seen you before. So, and I tell them all the time, like, hey, get out and see if you're funny. You not just in Baltimore. If you go see if you're funny in New York and Florida, and LA. See, it'd be funny out in them cities. So when I got the chance to go travel more, and I was like going to those type of cities where I was making people laugh in other cities, like just not just by my hometown, but I was making other people laugh in other cities, and it felt good. So I'm like, okay, maybe okay, this is getting better. This is getting better. So that's why I said every show I try to get better and better and see
Now,
how far I can take it.
do you feel like becoming a comedian, was it everything that you thought it would be? Did it turn out to be a little more disappointing, or did you have absolutely no expectations going into being a comedian?
And I found out about, I mean, let me just say, when I found out all the dirty stuff that went behind the scenes in in comedy, and I was like, wow, that really happens. And it was like it didn't deteriorate, it didn't like really like make me like, I don't think I want to do that. I'm like, I always kept saying like, I don't want any drama. I just want to do. I always want to do it for the right reasons, not just be okay because this such because stuff does happen where comedians don't get paid by the promoter or thing. It's so much stuff, or it's like that's why I think it's a lot of beef that's going on with comedians, some of the big names now, because of stuff that's happened, in a while. And I said I just don't want to get caught up in that type of drama. I just want to be free on stage and make people laugh and have fun. And that's all I really look. I mean, don't get me wrong, I done had my moments where I've dealt with a lot of some crazy stuff. And I just said it just comes, and I just learned that it comes with the territory.
Now, are you
So,
comfortable speaking on just one of those crazy moments that you had to
oh
go through?
hell yeah, I'll talk about it. I'm still looking for the dude to get my money. So I don't give a damn who it is. I'm gonna talk. So I had this show. I had a show, and it was in Kansas City. So the guy said, "Well, he'll pay me this and that and much to come out there to Kansas City." I said, "But he said I had to get my own plane ticket." I said, "Okay, fine." So got my plane ticket, went out there, did the show. He got me a hotel and everything, which was cool. So I had a plane. I brought a round trip ticket, so I had a plane to go back. So he writes me a check. Normally, comedians don't like to take a check unless it's a cashier's check or not them little personal checks. So I had to realize he gave me a personal check, and it was from his girlfriend. So apparently, I went and I got back home to Baltimore. I went to the bank and deposited the money into my bank account. So the lady called me from the bank saying, that check is bouncing that you put in your bank account. And I said, she mean it's bouncing. She said it's got Spalding on it. That's how bad it's bouncing right now. I'm like, you lying. And I looked at my account, man. I opened up my online account. I had over $777 worth of daggone fees that was accumulated from that bad check. Not including the money I didn't get.
Oh my God.
And so, and check this out. So I called this fool and I said, hey man, that check is bouncing. I said, what's going on? He said, well, me and my girlfriend got in an argument. I said, that has zero to do with me. I said, I came out and do the show. I said, you wrote me a check. I didn't want the check. I took it out of being kind and said, okay, this is how you gonna pay me. Fine. All right, I'll take the check. And you wrote me a bad check. Now your girlfriend gonna cancel just to be smart? I said, no. So now I need the $770 for the court fees plus what you owe me. That's like $1,000-something. So dude disappears. Don't hear from him. I lose my bank account because I ain't had the money at the time. I'm no big name. I don't have the money to put that stuff back in my bank account. And I still haven't found this dude yet. But if I find him, if y'all see a dude named Chico, hit me up on Facebook. A little Mexican dude. I don't know his last name, but there's a lot of Chicos out there. So I'll track them all down. Just give me their name and address. I'll find them. Chico. Little short Mexican dude with a white woman. I don't know if he's still with him, but I'm looking for him. So,
How long ago was this?
man, this was like maybe what 8, 9 years ago. That's just one of the craziest stories I've ever dealt with. It was like that was just like nuts. I mean, it was the first time I ever got beat for some money. Like I flew out to Kansas City from Baltimore, and matter of fact, I had to go to Virginia to get the flight to go to Kansas City. So now that I get back and my check bouncing? Oh no. I tried to hunt this dude down like on Facebook. calling his people that he knew. I'm like, yo, I need to find this dude so I get my money. I'm at least owed like $1,100, so I need my money back. I need that money. So he wound up disappearing. I ain't never heard from him again. But Chico, if I see you, I want my money. So
8, 9 years later, it's still
hey,
on.
nah, yeah, it's still on. It's what they say is still attacking credit. So it might be up to I might be up to 20,000 by now. So I don't know. I gotta remember the bank. I gotta remember the bank. Well, I think like an off-brand bank they ain't never heard of before. But you know.
Now, how in moments like that, and I'm sure other crazy moments that have happened through your life while being in comedy, how do you stay motivated and inspired to still do this, to still perform, you know?
Well, actually watching all the vets. Like, like I mean, because I grew up watching, Richard Pryor and like Red Fox and all those, Eddie Murphy and all them. So I'm sure they probably had way more crazy stories than what I got. And so I figured if it's a lot of stuff that does happen in comedy, so if people still gonna do it, it's gotta be something fun about it. So it's like if you get too much stuff that happens, I mean, I've seen people stop doing it, because they got tired of the politics and everything else there, but it must be something that keeps me drawing. I always took it that when I started doing comedy, and then I always took it as when God said, hey, maybe this football thing not working out for you, so maybe let's put you into comedy and see if that'll help a little bit better. So I always took it as God taking football away from me to put me into comedy because that was my calling. So I had dropped, playing football, and then, like I said, I started I was trying to focus on my comedy career, but I was still coaching little league football, like youth football. I was still coaching, but I always thought that God was saying, hey, I got something better planned for you. This football ain't working. Let's do something else. Let's take it on the stage. But that's what I'm saying. People always thought I was funny, especially in college. And like we used to sit around, how you sit around in college, y'all cracking jokes and everything, and a lot of dudes like, man, you should just go. My buddy was like, yo, you should just go ahead and do it, and go do it, man. You funny. And I'm like, and as I said, I started doing it, but I always thought as comedy as being my calling to
Now,
do it instead of.
your first stand up, did you bomb or did you have
Oh, I
everybody
sucked. I sucked bad, man. I wanted to quit that night. I ain't even want to do it no more. And like people, I was crying and everything. I said, man, I knew I shouldn't have got on stage. I knew this shit sucked, man. Let them niggas talk me to this shit. And like people was telling me it's a process. You just can't be funny straight away. Because you gotta realize you out there with people you don't know. So you out there with people that's watching, they don't know you at all. So it's like you gotta build your name, build your material to the point where they laughing. So then I said, when they taught me how to quit, and they was like, no, you just can't stop tonight. You gotta keep going. He said, you gotta see what you can do with it. And I was like, so I took that in stride. That's all right. I said, maybe you're right. It's like practicing for a football game. You can't get better unless you go to practice. And you learn all the plays and things like that. So that's what I did. I stuck with it and learned from some guys, and just learned the ropes. And I always ask questions. Even if I didn't have shows, I used to go to the comedy shows and watch all the veterans that was in town at the comedy club. So I would go study like JB Smooth. I would go watch when they come into town. I watch like Lavell, Crawford, and them, and like all of them. I would just sit there and study and like watch what they do and how they perform on the stage. So I would just always study white, black comics, Mexican. I studied them all. I just studied. So that's why I be trying to tell the new comedians now, go study, go to a comedy. If you can get in the comedy club for free and they know you, go in there and watch some of them comedians that perform that you ain't just go in there and study. That's all.
What has been your favorite moment in your career so far?
Oh, my favorite moment, man, it's got to be, let me see, like recently, well, let me see. Got so many. It's like, what's been you said my most fun or the best one, or
Yeah, the best moment of your career where it was, like taking a hit of drugs or something. You just felt that euphoria from it, you know?
oh, I think it was one time I got to work. I think when I started working with I was working with Rickey, Smiley, and Lavell Crawford. So when I started like working with them and the shows, because they was gonna bring fire on their shows anyway. So I knew that, but I was like, I was all nervous because like these the big names and they selling out these clubs. There wasn't no empty seat in the house. So it's like, and I started working with them, and I was like, I started getting better. It was just like, wow, this is like, I mean, I had to bring it, like no matter what. And this was like, I still travel with Lavell Crawford a lot, and I do some shows with Rickey because they still remember me. You know, they give me some shows every now and then, but I've been traveling more with Lavell, if anything. So he's like my mentor. So and being on the road with him has been like an experience, man. Like it's crazy. I mean, he called me his little son. So actually called me one day. He got a funny story. He said, he told the lady at the hotel that I was a stunt double. I was like, see that, but you know what? It's funny, man, because it's like when we used to be out in the public, people would walk up to me and ask me for my autograph. They was thinking I was him. I said, "This ain't funny, man. This ain't funny." I said, "They coming up to me asking for your autograph. So why are they coming to me?" He sitting back there laughing. I'm like, "It's not funny, man." I said, "They keep coming to me."
Get the heck out.
I tell you,
Hey.
I kid you not. We was out playing golf. So my first time playing golf, and the white lady came up to me and she said, "Oh my God." She said, "I loved you in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad." I said, "Who's she talking to?" He looking at me laughing. I like, "Oh, she think I'm you." I'm like, "Oh my God." Yo, I was like, he was like, "Just see how far you can take it. See how far you can take it." I said, "Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like the show." I'm like, "I know I'm not even his skin tone." I'm like, "Y'all don't know the difference between me and him?" I said, "It's because I'm big, right? It's because I'm big. That's what it is."
Hey, cause that's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, y'all ain't even the same skin tone. So
Yeah, and it's like they look and they sit back there laughing. The manager and everybody else sit back there laughing. I like, this shit ain't funny. This ain't funny. And I was sitting there like, that was one of the all-time classic moments with being with him. It was just, and it happened again with the Chinese lady. I said, "Oh my God, yo, I can't. You know what? Am I getting paid the same amount of money you getting paid at the shows? Because this is crazy."
that is nuts.
She said, "Oh my God, Mr. Crawford, can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "My name ain't no Mr. Crawford. That's what you talking about." He
Now, was
sitting there
this
laughing.
also happening with black people too, or was this just with us?
Oh, they know just the other people. They black people know who Lavelle is.
Oh,
I mean, it was a white bitch. The Chinese lady, and I'm saying to myself, I ain't saying this to be funny, but when she said it, I was like, "Okay, open your eyes, lady. Open your eyes and see. I know you Chinese." I said, "But open your eyes, okay? That is not me." Shout out to all the Chinese people out there. If you're looking, I don't mean no harm, but I just told her to open her eyes. That's all, So I'm just saying in general. I know y'all can open your eyes, but just open your eyes one time for me. I wasn't him. I wasn't him.
before we get cancel culture on you, sir, let me ask you.
I'm gonna be banned from Chinese store, Chinese food, all that. Can't watch Godzilla movies no more. Nothing. Damn. All right, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. I don't want to get canceled.
Because you know how easy it is today for that
Oh
to
yeah. Yeah, shout out to Kanye and Dave Chappelle and the rest of them.
happen. Matter of fact, since we on this, what do you think about cancel culture and this whole phenomenon of not being able to speak freely and getting canceled for whatever it is that you feel? What is your opinion on it?
They should take it out the Constitution then. If we can't say what we want to say, I mean, you say freedom of speech, but then everybody get a little bit sensitive about it. And it's like it's crazy because you can't talk about stuff without people getting mad. Like, where they do that at? I'm like, comedians are going to talk about what they want to talk about, regardless. And it's like, but how are we going to get in trouble if you just know it's just comedy? I mean, it's just nothing. We can make stories about that, but then like you got people like, I mean, what Kanye got in trouble for what, the Jewish, talking about Jewish people. And like, I mean, I love Jewish people. They fun to party with. I'm like, I ain't got no beef with them. So they just as black as us. They cool down to earth. They listen to hip hop. I mean, when the last time you went to a bar mitzvah and they was listening to Lil Jon? Come on, man. They do that. So it's like my whole thing with the freedom. If y'all not gonna let us talk, but you're gonna let Trump say what he want to say, then we get to say what we get to say. But I don't. That's why I said I don't know the whole story about what Kanye said. I know he said something about the Holocaust and he said something about George Floyd. He didn't die from the knee, and I'm like, what video were you watching? Like you didn't see the knee behind the man's neck. So Kanye done messed up his whole. Kanye need to get rid of them boots. That's all I gotta say. Them boots is getting on my nerves. I'm sorry. It look like he wearing his father boots or something. I don't know what it is. Why they so big? And he wearing mouthpieces. I don't know why he wearing a mouthpiece, and I just don't get it, man. What is it with the mouthpiece? He wearing a little mask. You can't see. You can't. Did you see this fool at the Super Bowl with that mask on? How you gonna watch the game? You got that mask on. Then out of all people, you sitting up there with damn Antonio Brown. He ain't too sharp in the deck either. So I would love to have been in that role.
According to Kanye, it's fashion. He pushing fashion forward with his rain boots and his whatever.
He put that hood on. That's called robbery in the black community. You got a hood, you got that whole mask on. How you gonna see in that mask, man? Come on now. Come on, your clothes got holes in them. I can get them to homeless people. They cost $1,000 for holes. Come on, man. Be for real. But I mean, Dave, like I say, Dave Chappelle gonna be Dave Chappelle. I mean, he's always been like that. He gonna speak his mind no matter what. But it's like, I mean, I when I'm on stage, I used to hold stuff back, thinking about what people would be mad about, but now I don't. I don't care. If you come here all mad, you should have stayed home. Don't get mad at me because your baby mother dropped you, or you gotta pay extra child support and all that. Don't get mad at me. So I'm just here to do a job. So I mean, that's why I said I stopped holding back, because I think the more real you with people, the more they laugh at it. But like I said, if they and the thing about it is the whole thing with when you talk about, I don't know if I can say this, but when you talk about the alphabet squad, that's what they call them, the LGBT crew. The whole thing about that. I got a cousin that's gay. I don't like him either, but no, I'm just joking. But they sensitive about everything, man. It's like you can't even say nothing. You can't even say the word pink. You can't say Skittles. You can't say nothing. It's crazy. Like you can't. They just get mad so quick. Like, wow, did he say anything? What did he say? Like, I don't know, man. It's like, I still talk about the ass. I don't care.
Now, what do you feel like is the best part of being a comedian? Is it the performing? Is it you being able to express yourself as you want to? Is it the touring? Is it hanging with other comedians? What is it for you that make this job really worth it?
I think it's a bit of it all, because it's like the traveling is fun. The mixing with the comedians is always cool, because you sit in there. If you can like stick a camera in the green room with a bunch of comedians, I'm telling you, it's the most craziest time like ever. You talking about the most funnest time ever. I mean, if we on the road, we go out and get something to eat. That's a fun time. And of course, I get messed with all the time, because they like, well, he say, you only can get one plate now. And I was like, hey man, I didn't see. They always messing with me, so it's like. But I just like the whole experience behind it, man. It's just the laughter, the performance, the travel. I like it. I love it.
Was there ever a moment in your career where you ever felt starstruck meeting somebody?
Oh, I think when I got to meet Sinbad. Sinbad, like this was before he got, he had his strokes and everything, and it's like, I mean, he was down the comedy Friday. Matter of fact, Sinbad was one of the comedians that I watched when I was younger. Like he was the only comedian I knew that didn't cuss, and he was still funny. And it was like I used to watch him like all the time. I think I've seen like most of his stand. They used to come on HBO. See, my mother would allow me to watch Sinbad because he didn't cuss. So back then I could watch him. So and then I got to meet him. And I told him, I said, you one of the comedians that inspired me to do comedy because of what you did on stage. And that was just like wow. Like that was just like, dang. And then I started meeting a lot of the other guys like Lavell Crawford and Rickey Smiley. And I used to watch these guys on Comic View, like BET Comic View, and I used to see their stuff on the comedy shows. So when I started seeing it, because I was working at the comedy club back in Baltimore when I was up and coming comedian. So I always seen all these guys like Gary Owen, and I met all these guys that came through there. So like, but it was like Sinbad, like wow. Like I was just struck, like, ooh. And I got to work with Paul Mooney too. So that was another one. Paul Mooney, it was like, sheesh. Like I'm in the dressing room with Paul Mooney right now. Like, dude. I mean, and everybody that's seen Paul Mooney know, if you ain't ready for his show, you're gonna be in trouble. I seen white folks get up and leave during the show, and he said, "What you thought I was gonna talk about? Us all night?" Like, I'm telling you, he was so. Oh my god, you talk about somebody that should have a freedom of speech sticker. That dude didn't give a damn what he said.
Man, I was watching a Paul Mooney stand up not too long ago. I think the Chocolate Factory. So this might have been like early 2000s or something.
Yeah.
No, he was going on one of his spiels, and a couple had got up and left, and he had kind of went silent for a moment and kind of let him leave, and then he was like, "I still got it."
But he did that similar to Baltimore, but he had said somebody was stealing him when they was walking out. He said, "Well, what you thought I was going to talk about? Do I want to talk about us all day?"
Man,
I mean, Paul Mooney just didn't give a damn. He just didn't care. He would talk about white people sitting in the front row till they got mad, and I just never knew like. And I think the one time I got to talk to him because I was so interested in talking to him about him working with Richard Pryor. So when I had the chance and I had him in the dressing room, I said, "Mr. Mooney," I said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "What was it like working with Richard Pryor?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you like I tell everybody else. None of your damn business." And I was like, wait a minute, did I just get dissed by Paul Mooney in this goddamn? And he walk out the green room laughing about it. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And it was like, I was like, when he said, "None of your damn business." I was like, did I just get punked by Paul Mooney? This happened to me?
And he left it at that.
He left it at that. We never talked about Richard Pryor at all.
Wow.
And then somebody was like, "Oh, well, you ever think maybe he gets sick of answering that question?" I said, "Yeah, maybe, but when you were one of the greatest of all time, yeah, we're gonna ask that." I mean, luckily I know his daughter because his daughter live in Baltimore, so I know his daughter, so I can talk to her about him. I know she ain't gonna tell me to get the hell out of here, but I could talk to her about him as much as she knows about him. But other than that, I was just shocked. He said that because he'd been around him, and I was just shocked, like wow. And I told other comedian, I said, "Paul Mooney just told me none of my goddamn business." I said, "Did he really just say that?" He started laughing. I said, "This ain't funny. I'm about to punch him in his face."
I really want to know.
I really wanted to know. I was hurt when he didn't answer the damn question. So that was two of my star strucks. There was when I got to meet Paul Mooney and Sinbad, which was crazy, but it was just like it was nuts.
Now, what kind of advice would you give yourself prior to you starting comedy? Like that moment when you about to get up on stage and for the first time, what kind of advice would you give your younger self in that moment?
Relax, have fun, and get your deposit before you get on stage. I learned that now later on going through a lot of stuff to get your deposit first. Or if I can I get paid before I finish? At least. But yeah, I would tell myself, go out there, relax, have fun, do your thing, do what you know what to do. And just make the people laugh what you like you're supposed to make them do. That's what I would tell my young self. It's gonna come. It ain't gonna come overnight, but it's gonna come eventually if you stick with it. So that's what I would say to myself, at least, hopefully.
So where do you see yourself in another 3 to 5 years?
I'm trying to at least move up to. I want to start getting like some feature and maybe some headlining acts. I mean, I've done it in a couple of clubs. You know, I'm just trying to get more. I think I moved. See, the whole thing with the internet, because they got a lot of comedians that come off the internet now, and they go straight to headline. And like when I was coming up, you had to start with the level of being an MC, then you work your way to a feature, then you work your way eventually to a headliner. So now the internet plays a role where if you got a certain amount of followers, you automatically a headliner. So now it's like I gotta adapt to that because now I was coming up through a different system than what they got now. So it's like I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work more on my social media. My social media is getting a little bit better, but I'm not. I don't want my skits or whatever I do online to like put me as a comedian because I've seen some comedians, some internet comedians, like they didn't do good like at an actual show. And like I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known for my talent alone, not just because of the skits. Because everybody, if you come into do a comedy show, everybody want to know you funny. They know you by your skits and your videos. So they want to know if you funny. Now, if you go up there and disappoint, then people start walking out. So I want to do it based on my talent alone, not just because of the videos can help, but I just don't want to base it off of my talent on my performance. So that's my whole thing.
Now, is there any upcoming shows you would like to promote? How can the people reach you? All that good stuff before we end this conversation.
Just some local shows that I got coming up here in the Maryland area, DMV area. If they wanted, they can follow me on Instagram. It's CJ Burney Comedy, BURNEY Comedy. I'm also on Facebook, CJ Burney. I'm also on TikTok. I have a lot of fun on TikTok, man. I do so much crazy stuff on TikTok. With the CJ Burney on comedy on TikTok, and I'm also on Plenty of Fish. If y'all want to follow me on that, Plenty of Fish, Match.com. They all dating sites, you know, Christian Mingle. I'm on those too. So gotta find love somewhere. Gotta find love somewhere. Hey. Oh, I wasn't supposed to put that out there? Oh, okay, my bad. Oh, you're talking about social media. Social media. Okay, not the dating sites. Okay, my bad. My bad. All right, I'm sorry. But I'm on most social media.
In my mouth, and I heard Plenty of Fish. I'm like, what social media? What?
Look, he didn't know what Plenty of Fish was. See, that's bad. He like Plenty of what? Christian Mingle? Who?
Yeah,
So
that's funny as hell.
yeah, but yeah, I'm on most social media platforms, so y'all can catch me on those most of the time. But I'm still working on my website too. So, you know, trying to get my website up and running.
Ooh,
So
man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down with me and have this conversation, man.
hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all.
No
That's why
problem. No
that's why
problem.
I told Michi took me 10 years to finally get on this joint. But you know, it's all good.
Better
I was
late than
patient.
never.
Hey, I
Yeah.
was patient. Hey, I was patient. It's all good.
All right, man. You enjoy the rest of your day, man. We'll be in contact soon, man.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Thank you, man. Take care.
All right, you too. All right, bye-bye.